What's up, guys? Welcome to Neek, which stands for Nerd Size Geek, and if that relates to you, I would consider clicking that subscribe button. So yes, Flash Season 6 ended. Not exactly where it's supposed to end, because of what's going on in the world. They couldn't finish the last episodes. But this is what it is for now, and it's over. So I thought it'd be the perfect time to rank all 6 seasons of The Flash. Coming in at number 6 is Season 5, and yeah, there's not much I like about it. For some positives, it is a pretty good finale. Ralph is really funny in it. I especially like in the first episode where he didn't know that they have all time travel. He's trying to figure out stuff about time travel. Like, there might be a multiverse. I like this new version of Wells Sherlock, and I do like the use of Reverse Flash in it. One criticism I have of the Flash is keep using the Reverse Flash back and back, but I did like the use of him in this season. But yeah, for the stuff I did not like, there's a lot. So Cicada, he's the worst main villain of this series. The acting is really bad, and they have him in his first fight with Team Flash back in the second episode. So if you already have him fight him there, then you have to have him show up throughout the entire time. And I think sometimes if it's a 2 episode or 23 episode, they should play it out where the main villain doesn't come into contact. Like, Barry doesn't fight the Reverse Flash until episode 9. But if you introduce him in the second episode, or you have him fight the team in the second episode, you gotta keep doing it. And that's a problem, because they fight him in almost every episode they're fighting Cicada. It just gets so repetitive. Like, multiple times they have him beat, and then they just, let him go for some reason. Like, in one episode, Barry literally has him beat. He's, beating him up, and they're like, Barry, you're too angry. Don't kill him. It's like, oh, you're right. And just lets him go. Like, there's another option. You don't only have to kill him or let him go. You can just capture him. That just really frustrates me. And then also, I'm not a big fan of the addition of meta weapons. That seems something like 6-year-old me would come up. Like, what if the weapons had what if, different objects got superpowers? That's kind of a little weird. And then I also found Nora very annoying throughout the season. Coming in at number 5 is Season 6. Now, one thing with this, it feels like 2 different seasons. It feels like one is pre-crisis and one is after crisis. And I definitely prefer the pre-crisis stuff a lot more than the after crisis. So the pre-crisis, I'm like, okay, I'm liking it. I'm enjoying these episodes. There's some stuff I like. I like the villain. It's interesting how they're tying stuff with Crisis and, all that. And, they introduced Nash Wells. I'm like, okay, there's some stuff I like here. Which is good. But then the second half, I just really could not get into it. I found myself extremely bored. Just, weird, confused about some of the choices they made. Some weird stuff. But the final couple episodes kind of changed that, as I did like the final couple episodes. And I feel like it could have redeemed itself if you got the last couple episodes that we weren't able to get. So I don't hold that against the season not being able to have the final episode. So that's automatically going to make it a little bit worse. But it wasn't their fault. And also in the season, they bring back Reverse Flash, as I said. They've brought back Reverse Flash in every single season. And sometimes it works. This time, I did not think it works. I'm like, okay, they actually have him in a lot in Season 5. That should just be the end of Reverse Flash for it. They should just, stop having him in it. But now, Nash Wells, sees the other Wells. And, okay, that makes sense, I guess. But why does he see Eobard Thawne? Because he doesn't see Harrison Wells, the actual person who is Harrison Wells. He sees Eobard Thawne in his head, which doesn't make any sense, because why would he see someone who's not a Wells? Just because he took over his body, that wouldn't mean it. Ralph can morph into different people and does that throughout the show. Does that mean, if there's, someone else could see the Ralph's version of someone else in their head? I don't really know what it means. That was just kind of a weird thing I didn't like. And then also, as I said, there's some weird creative choices. In one scene, it's actually doing something cool in an action scene. They're doing a long take where it's spinning around. But then there's randomly this pop song playing. they've never really done that. It's just out of nowhere. Okay. And then in the final episode, there's this battle scene, and they do it like it's a comic book. Like, they split it into panels. Like, you see the different people. They split the screen between it. They, like, flip the page. I'm like, okay. I mean, this is a comic book TV show, so I guess that kind of makes sense. I mean, it works in stuff like Into the Spider-Verse, because that's an animated thing like it. But even if could kind of work if they introduced it from the beginning. But this is 6 seasons in to a show, and they've never done this before. All of a sudden, they're doing a fight scene like it's a comic book. That just comes off as really weird. That's something they've never done. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. I think because they kind of switched over to editing it at home, probably because they couldn't finish. I bet there's one guy's like, I'm at home, I can just edit whatever I wanted. Ooh, let's make it like a comic book. And somehow no one noticed until they aired it. I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking, because I don't know how no one can think. Isn't this kind of weird that we've never done this before? Weird stuff. Also, like, some other things is, like, Cisco and Caitlin, they get sidelined in this season. Like, they're in some, but then lots of it, they just get sidelined and just leave or aren't in episodes. Like, I want to see those people. Not in some of these new characters I don't like as a lot. One character I do like, not Ralph. Love. Ralph's amazing. Don't see anything about that. And then also you just have one episode that stands out as really bad. Which lots of these seasons, even if they have like episodes, there's not one that stands out as bad. And Love is a Battlefield might be one of the worst episodes of The Flash ever. It's probably the worst episode. It's extremely cringy and yeah. But then for some stuff I did like, as I said, I like both villains in it. And one thing I always want the Arrowverse to do is, like, I feel like that was a great choice, because after Cicada, they introduced him in the second episode. They fight. He seems so repetitive. I'm like, they decide to do a 2-villain, one for the first, not actual half, but until the mid-season finale, then do a second villain. And I kind of like that idea, because sometimes these seasons are too long and things get too stretched out, especially a villain. So that's something I'm really glad they do. And both villains were pretty solid. You don't get to see the end of the villain in the second half, but, you know, not my favorite villain, but not bad. One last thing about season 6. So Carver seemed very familiar, and I was trying to figure out why. I'm like, is he looks like someone, or is the character like someone? I couldn't really figure it out, but I figured it out. He kind of looks like Alan. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. And his character reminds me of Alistair Gray from Big Hero 6, who is played by Alan. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. And he also kind of looks like Alistair Gray, I guess. So it's kind of like I mixed in my head the character that he acts like and the actor he looks like and the actor who plays that character. So that's just something I noticed. Coming in at number 4 is season 3. So this is another one I kind of mixed on. There was some stuff really like. I like how they introduced Julian as a character, and then even lots of the shows, lots of the seasons, as you get to the middle, they kind of slow down and you get kind of bored and stuff. This one kind of stops in doing it, and they have a couple big like event episodes, like very interesting episodes, like more than just episodic filler episodes. Like there's this one where this like 2-part with Grodd, which is my favorite Grodd arc probably throughout this series and stuff. So there's like some interesting stuff. It dives deeper into the Speed Force, and I found that kind of interesting. And then this introduces H.R. Wells, which I wasn't the biggest fan of at the beginning, but he really grows on me, and by the end you really start to like him, and you like where they go with the character at the end. But my problem here is this is the season where they start to make everyone a superhero. Before this, it was just Barry, and then Cisco had powers, but he wasn't really a superhero. And now you have Barry, Cisco, Caitlin, and 2 new speedsters. Like, it would be fine if it's just Cisco and Caitlin. Like, I could be fine with that. Like, you know, whatever. But to have 2 new speedsters, it just makes Barry seem less special, because now he's not even the only speedster around. And in the wise words of Syndrome.
And when everyone's super, no one will be.
And they had already introduced Jake Garrick as another good speedster that Barry could like seek help from if he needs stuff about the Speed Force or that stuff. So like now we have 4 like good speedsters there, and the other 2 are very much helping him out in this season a lot. So they're very much like the main cast members, and I don't want to have 3 main speedsters. I just don't like that. And also, I was not a big fan of all of Savitar as a villain. I hated that twist. It was just like not what I wanted, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't really make sense with the time travel rules. I've thought about it a lot. I'm like, with the time travel rules they established in the show, I think that's breaking them. If I'm wrong, you can comment down below and tell me I am and explain it, but I'm pretty sure that is. Also, the season's not really that fun because they know Iris is gonna die. Everyone is just like very like just kind of sad, mopey, and kind of unlikable, especially Barry, which Barry is, the previous 2 seasons were really fun, energetic. He's very, and now he's just kind of like moping around and stuff. So not really the stuff I wanted from The Flash. Coming in at number 3 is season 4. So I know lots of people have this season a lot lower than me, but I mean, I thought it was a pretty good return to form for The Flash. The season introduces Ralph Dibny, who's one of my favorite characters on the show, and I'm glad they've decided to finally not have a speedster as the main villain. And I think DeVoe's a good different villain, as it's because like how smart he is, he's impossible to stop, not how physically strong he is. Well, I guess he gets a bunch of powers later, but and because of how smart, it causes a great mid-season finale where like mind-blowing stuff. And then I do like the stuff how that leads into him going on to trial and then into jail, and how they eventually got him out is really creative. I really like that stuff. I like those episodes. And then they have this great, really well done episode, Flash Time, which is probably my favorite like episodic episode that's not part of the main story. That was just a great episode, really tense, really cool, well done, something that we've never seen before in The Flash. But I do have some problems with it, and Iris is really, really annoying in this season. And like, so I'm not the biggest Iris fan, but in this season, she's just more annoying. She's very preachy and like all this stuff, and she's like, her whole thing with "we're the Flash." I'm like, no, Barry's the Flash. You are just Iris, his wife. You're not the Flash, and just gets on my nerves a lot. And with season 3 being pretty dark, they kind of overcorrected the problem and made it a little bit too like campy. Okay, keep in mind, from those 4 to these to my top 2, there's a big gap in quality. Like, I like these final 2 a lot more than I do the other ones. But which one is going to come in number 2 and which one's coming in number 1? Coming in at number 2 is actually The Flash Season 1. Now, I know lots of people have this as the favorite season, and if you like this season the most, I totally understand. I'm like right there. They're like neck and neck for me. But yeah, this is just a great start for a show. Lots of shows need a little bit of time to find their identities, but this one comes out right at the bag. From the pilot episode, it's already great. Grant Gustin quickly wins you over as both Barry Allen and the Flash. The whole Team Flash is just really fun. It's pretty funny at some times. And you have this amazing villain with Reverse Flash who's extremely intimidating and very smart and seems impossible to stop. And you have this really cool mystery aspect with it, where even if you think you know where it is, you're like, oh, Harrison Wells, he's evil. But that's not actually the twist, and where it actually does go, you can't really see coming. I mean, I guess if you've read comics, but if you haven't, you can't see it coming. You also have some pretty strong side villains here, like most of the episodic villains I actually kind of like, and then there's like the villains who show up multiple times, like Captain Colt's pretty great. And then you have these other interesting storylines, like side plots with like Firestorm, and they're also not afraid to go big in their first season, as you already have Barry time traveling, and the first season, which lots of shows will not try that yet if it's not mainly a time traveling show. That's not the whole premise. And the whole season is just a lot of fun and a great start to a superhero TV show. But coming in at number 1 is season 2. And it does exactly what a second season of a show should do. It keeps what you love about the first season while building on it to make it bigger in scale, adding characters, just adding to what you love. And this season, to get bigger, they introduced the multiverse. And it's a lot of fun when they go to Earth 2 to see their counterparts, make some really fun stuff. And when you have time traveling and multiverse hopping, it's not too confusing or convoluted yet, so I really enjoy it. And I thought Harry Wells was a great addition because you're like, you want Tom Cavanaugh coming back to play Harrison Wells, but he can't play it. So he's actually playing an actual Harrison Wells, not a Eobard Thawne posing as Harrison Wells, and I thought that's really cool. And now you have an actually good Harrison Wells. And then you have Zoom, which I think is also a great villain. Not quite as good as the Reverse Flash, but like just below it. He's extremely scary. Whenever he's on screen, you are scared for all the people who are like, you're just scared for anyone on screen who's on screen with him. And you have this great twist with him that I didn't really see coming. And it leads to these final 2 episodes, which I think are really great. Some of the best of the series. You have like this, it's bigger in scale as you have the police fighting the metahumans. And then you have this final showdown with Zoom that's extremely satisfying. Overall, season 2 of The Flash is my favorite season. So that is my ranking for the seasons of The Flash. Comment down below your list of the ranking of the seasons. And comment down below, should I do more of these for the other Arrowverse shows? This is the only one where I'm only fully caught up with. That's why I didn't rank the Arrow seasons. But now that that is done, I could rank the Arrow seasons. DC Legends, I'm not caught up with, but it ends in June. So I could maybe catch up by the time it ends. So if you guys want me, I can rank the seasons for the other Arrowverse shows. Some of the other Arrowverse shows. But yes, you can click right in, should be in that corner. No, right in one of those corners. You can find a playlist with all my DC videos, which includes my both reviews for Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I'm pretty sure if you enjoyed this video, there's something in there for you. So yeah, keep watching Neek.